All right, so describe the influence of the Medici family within Europe during the Renaissance period. What was another name for the Medici family? And what does that name mean? Today is the 28th. You can see that up on the board. Please date that for your bell ringer. Finally get working. There's one up front. I'll get it for you. It's a All right, so the Medici family, where are they located? Where are they from? Austin, go ahead. Florence, where at? Italy, yeah, good job. And we talked about how the Renaissance emerged in Italy already. What were some factors that led to the emergence of the Renaissance in Italy? That was one of them we talked about yesterday. You go ahead. Yeah, good job. So trade, right? So we mentioned yesterday about how Italy is focused on the Mediterranean Sea and has access to a lot of trade routes and influence from other areas, especially the Ottoman Empire. Good job. And obviously, when it comes to resources, materials from, let's say, North Africa, the Middle East, moving out to Asia, yeah, there's a lot of influence coming into Italy, right? So think of it almost as like a funnel, like I talked about yesterday. All that material, all these forms of trade and even ideology and theories are coming to Italy and flowing out the rest to Europe. Right. What are other factors that led to Italy being that reemergence, that rebirth of ancient Rome? Right? Yeah, good job. So ancient Rome, it's literally located in Italy, right? So when you think about Rome, you think about these thoughts and beliefs, these theories. Okay, when it comes to education, even the forms of architecture, it's focused right there in Italy. So what better place for this rebirth to occur? Good, good. What else? What else did we talk about yesterday? Bryce, go ahead. Okay, yeah, because of all the trade, right? With trade comes wealth, comes riches. Good. And they have the ability then to fund and patron these arts. Good. What else? What else did we talk about? Ally.
The wealthiness.
Okay, yeah, we talked about the riches. Yeah, we talked about that. What?
He said how Italy is rich.
It's wealthy. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
because of all the trade. What do you want me to say? What else? What else? What about the Catholic Church? Still has a high presence there in Italy, obviously. Okay, when it comes to this artwork, all right, a lot of that is influenced by religion, okay, which we'll talk about with some of these famous artists of the time. All right, well, what else? What else? What decimated Europe and the rest of the world in the Middle Ages, medieval times? Caused a lot of people to die from Dakota. The Black Plague, yeah. So for some reason, Italy, yes, they were affected by it, but not near as bad as what we saw, okay, with these other countries in Europe. So yeah, they weren't nearly as affected as other places in Europe from the Black Plague. In ways, they might have had better hygiene. All right, so with the Medici family, okay, we talked a little bit about them yesterday. What were they? What were they? Bryce? Yeah, good job. So they owned bank system, financial systems within Italy. So all that trade coming into Italy, they knew exactly where it was coming from, and they had the ability to grow Italy, make it more of a established place. Okay, obviously these businesses, they need loans to get started up. So who do you think is providing the loans to these businesses, to these wealthier people? Well, the Medicis, right? And eventually they'll invest in these businesses, helping it grow, helping it become more of a modern state. So yeah, if you have wealth, if you're financing a lot of the growth innovations in Italy, chances are you're going to have a strong influence, right? And they had a strong love for the arts. Okay, so they were patrons of the arts. So there they are, funding a lot of these projects, funding these famous artists. In many cases, like the video stated, they even housed them for long periods of time. Whenever they had parties, right, they had these artists perform their magnificent pieces of arts, music, and sculpting right in front of a huge audience. So again, they had everything to their advantage, right? They were influencing a lot of this famous artwork, this reemergence of ancient Rome when it comes to education, when it comes to arts, music, entertainment. All right, so the Medici family, they're also known by a unique name. What was that name? What was that nickname we talked about yesterday? Allie, go ahead. The House of Medici. Okay, yeah, that's the family. What are you going to blame this one on now?
You didn't say your name.
Should. Go ahead. Go ahead. The uncrowned kings. Yes, Alan, you got that? Write that one down. The uncrowned kings. Why do you think they were given the name the uncrowned kings? Bryce.
Because they were like they were higher ups, but they didn't have like a position.
Okay, it's not like they were from a bloodline from these monarchs, right? But what provided them to be kingship as the monarch.
They had so much influence.
They had so much influence because of what, Bryce said? Their wealth, right? Yeah, if you had a lot of wealth, obviously you're going to dictate what goes on, especially with this reemergence of ancient Rome. Here they are inspiring. Here they are funding. You have money, you have a strong influence. And with the Medici family, they really ruled over Italy and provided for the ability for Italy to rise in this Renaissance period. Okay. So we also talked about the Medici family. The video stated that some of them were what? Some of them were what, Reagan? Yeah, some of them are actually popes. And we mentioned about how the Pope had a strong influence in people's lives throughout the medieval times, Middle Ages, and even moving into the Renaissance. So again, when it comes to money, you can pretty much buy your way to anything. And in this case, the Medicis, they provided a lot of influence. Some ways negative, but in some ways very positive when it comes to this rebirth, this revival of ancient Rome. All right, is there any questions on the Medici family? Remember, the uncrowned kings. Okay, so I want to move on here with the notes. I just want to talk about 2 slides, maybe 3. Yeah, it's about 3. It won't take too long, I promise. So yesterday, we talked about the prince. What was the prince all about? The prince. You're going to read a little bit more into it today. That's going to be your assignment for today. What was the prince all about? Bryce, go ahead.
Yeah, it's like.
It was a book, yeah.
More power.
Good, yeah. So when it comes to leadership qualities, right? So this is providing an idea, almost how-to guide to how to lead, right? Violet, do you have something to add to that? Oh, okay. I didn't know. All right. Yeah, when it comes to the prince, this is a how-to guide, leadership qualities that each leader should have. And remember one of the quotes, it's better to be feared than loved. What do you guys think about that quote? What do you think? Bryce, go ahead.
Are you gonna be feared that way? Yeah, for other countries, whatnot. Yeah, that way they don't come and try to invade you or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, good job. So it's almost more important to be feeling safe, right? It's more important to be protected. It's more important, Waylon, what do you do? To have control rather than, this love, I guess you could say. But when it comes to leadership, it is important to have this control. It is important to have this safety provided to you. And with that, obviously, you need a strong military. So the prince details about these leadership qualities that each person within the monarchy to become a prince should have. Gabe, you
I
have
don't
something to
think
add?
you should be the most feared country around.
Yeah, good job.
Because if you are, then a whole bunch of people team up to try and take you out.
All right, yeah. So obviously you need to have that respect as well, but at the same time, you need to be feared, right? As a new rising country, you need to have that power. Violet? Yeah, good job. So internal revolts or rebellions. To make sure that you don't have an internal threat, a rebellion that rises from inside your own country. Yeah, you need to have that structure. You need to have that power. Good. All right, so yesterday we mentioned a little bit about the courtier. So the courtier, this is just describing of the Renaissance man. So in other words, the Renaissance man is a person that shows sophistication, a person that's educated, that knows the history, the understandings of each kingdom, and is well thought to be a perfect citizen, a perfect person in the king's eyes. So you got to think, the prince, okay, this is how royalty should act. The courtier is how people should act of the time period, right? And how they need to show some sort of oath, some sort of allegiance to the kingdom, to the monarch. And in many cases, this is a way to change the look appropriate for the Renaissance period. So a true man should be charming, witty, and well educated in the classics. Right? So that kind of even still resounds today. You need to have some sort of understanding of the world, understanding of history of your society, of your community. And it's important to have this charm to you, this elegancy. Okay, you just can't become walking it sloppy like a bum or anything like that. Skill in sword fighting, wrestling, and horse riding. So at the time, these are athletic feats. It's important to become somewhat of a person that cares about their physical appearance. And when it comes to athletic ability, it's important to have that as a part of your arsenal, so to speak. So yeah, you have to be smart, you have to be educated, you have to be funny, you have to be charming, but at the same time, you have to show some sort of athletic ability. You have to show that you are capable of providing some sort of physical appearance to yourself. Dance, sing, play music, write poetry. So when it comes to understanding entertainment, when it comes to being well-rounded as a person, it's important to have those features as well. And finally, above all, have self-control and be well-mannered. So understanding ethics, understanding societal norms, okay, making sure that you're not acting out or causing chaos or anarchy around, right? And in that case, you have to have some sort of religious background too. So that's going to provide that stability, that structure to your life. So overall, the Courtier, this is the perfect Renaissance man, someone that abides by the rules of the monarch and making sure that you're not acting out and just performing the best of your ability. If you follow all these characteristics, chances are you're not going to be a threat to the king. This is a way to try to provide stability to a community. All right, so moving on here, humanism. This is one of your terms yesterday. What is humanism? What is humanism? We talked about this yesterday. What is it? In your vocab. What's human? That hand up, Bryce? Okay, go ahead. What is it? All right, okay, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Okay, go ahead.
It's like a religion, kind of. It's
Ah.
a belief.
It is belief. Okay, good.
That humans thought philosophy and stuff.
Okay, yeah, you're on the right track here. That's what you're saying here. Reagan? Yeah, good job. Good job. So this is understanding education. This is understanding theories. Remember last chapter, we talked about scholasticism. That was a combination of education, but more emphasis on what? Religion. Yeah, good job. During the Renaissance period, humanism emerges, which you're going to try to push out religion. You're going to try to focus more on the arts. You're going to focus more on education. You're going to focus a little bit more on this theoretical principle. Thinking critically, thinking analytically. Rather than just following everything the church, what religion has to offer, you're thinking a little bit more of human interaction. So again, this is a response to medieval scholasticism. We talked about that last chapter and how this is more focused on the person, more focused on human interaction, human experience, rather than just based off of everything religion. All right, so finding fulfillment in daily life, education fuels creativity. There's a lot of truth to that. Grammar, rhetoric, poetry, history. So again, becoming that proper Renaissance man. And then I want you guys to know, this is the father of humanism. His name is Petrarch. So Petrarch, he is the father of humanism. He brings this theory, this idea of maybe leaving out religion, focusing more on secular views to the forefront. And this is what, again, pushes the Renaissance period in a different direction than what we saw during the Middle Ages, during medieval times. We need to focus more on human interaction, people interacting in society, the human experience. We need to focus more on education, scholarly work, principles of theories, and answering the world around us of what we have at our grasp, not just answering it just by the divine right or by spiritual understanding or spiritual knowledge. All right, does that make sense? So again, humanism, it's emerging during the Renaissance period. This is more based off of human experience, more based off of education, leaving religion out of the beliefs and thoughts of the time. All right, last thing I want to talk about is new techniques in art. Okay, we're going to talk about famous artists tomorrow after we're done talking over the assignment that I have for you today, and then I'll give you a little bit of time to work on tomorrow in class. But new techniques in art. So we got religious topics, famous people. So religion still is prevalent within these forms of artwork. When it comes to sculptures, in the video you just watched, there's a lot of viewpoints of David, right? So obviously he's the one that took down Goliath, that became king. And it showed a lot about his essence, his power, his capabilities of the time. Realism, so featuring more about lifestyles of everyday people in Europe, especially in Italy, during the Renaissance period. So as you can see here, the interaction on the streets. Okay, it's not just based off solely religion. It's not based solely off of these religious ideologies. Perspective, so painting in 3D image. So you have a setting, you have a background. Okay, as you can see here in this image, there's houses in the background that are far separated from what you see of the figure, of what pops out to you, of the interaction with people. There is a background to it. There is a setting. There's an element to it. You remember, with the artwork of the medieval times, a lot of this artwork was just 2D. On these pages, it might have described a little bit about what the writing was explaining when it comes to religious ideology. But now you see more of a setting. You see a background. You see shading. You see different types of lighting featured within the artwork. And this reflection is taking an appearance that this is a 3D image, even though it's written on a 2D, obviously, painting or a picture that's being created or drawn. So I'm sure you guys learned that in art class, right? When it comes to the background, when it comes to certain types of shading, it makes the appearance that you're actually there looking at the piece of art. It gives you the perspective that you are looking into the artwork, not just looking down faced at a 2D image. All right, so again, make sure you guys remember that, these features here, when we talk about some of these artists more tomorrow and on Friday. So here's your assignment for today. I'd like you to work on this. I'm giving you time to do so now, but it's called The Prince by Machiavelli. So again, we talked a little bit about this yesterday. If you're taking notes yesterday, if you're paying attention, you could probably answer a few of these questions based off of what I was talking about in class. So click on The Prince, Machiavelli. Here is the questions I'd like you to complete. There's 12 questions. Again, if you're just paying attention yesterday and even today, you could probably answer a few of these questions. Now, when it comes to the essay here at the bottom, don't worry about it. You guys just answer the questions. Okay? You got me? Bryce, do you hear that? You're not writing the essay. You're just doing the questions. Okay.
Thank goodness.
Whoa, thank goodness. All right. So yeah, 12 questions. You do not have to write the essay. If you want to, go ahead. That's great. But just you guys only have to worry about the questions here. Okay, to find the reading here, you can see the template that's attached, a PDF. The only thing about this PDF that's a little upsetting is that the pictures are a little bit darkened out. You can't really see the pictures too well, right? It's really not too big of a reading, obviously, but break it down. If you have to highlight some of the quotes, some of the text, please do so. But you can also find the textbook chapter. Where at? Go to modules, right here at the top of the module. You can see it labeled Chapter 2, Renaissance. You click on that page, you see there at the bottom, the textbook chapters. Okay, right here. All right, so if you want to see the pictures, that's great, you can do that. But on the assignment, I have the selected text to read from. That's a sociology book, Whalen. It's not going to help you out. All right. Okay, I'll play some music for you guys. As long as you're working, please use your time wisely. Like I said, I'll give you a little bit of